Everybody, thanks for watching. So now when you look at militaries, militaries who have existed, for, centuries, you have to understand one of the things you had to do back then as a king was to really motivate people to want to fight for you, to join the military, same as today. Now, before, a lot of people don't understand that militaries and people who serve kings was rooted in religion, that people actually believed that these kings had a divine right to rule. And this is what people believed. And a lot of times when we look at things dealing with kings and queens or what have you, a lot of people don't come to that understanding that this stuff goes back to religion. Because how else could you explain a person having some kind of right to rule over everybody else? What makes you special from everybody else? Is it the fact that you have a bunch of money, which is, what it comes down to as far as on a material sense? Of course, people did things for the crown to get, money, to get paid, to take care of themselves and their families because, they was paying. But you had people who chose to basically give up their lives and give up their freedom or what have you to serve a royal family. They did so because they have spiritual beliefs, religious beliefs in that family, that they were somehow doing something good. God saved the queen and, for the crown or for the kingdom, you give up your life, you fought or what have you. So when you fast forward to modern day and we look at warfare and we look at the way war has been waged during our time and a lot of the reasons for these wars, and a lot of people still fail to understand that these are things that has been set up to happen so that war takes place. So we've been seeing so much, salute the military. Thank you for your service. Military this, military that. And so many people is caught up in this whole military hype that they are not seeing the facts. They're not seeing the truth. And that you have a group of people who have been completely brainwashed and trained to go out and kill innocent people. And this is what's taking place. So when we just look at what took place in Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan or what have you, that you had people living under whatever conditions they was living under. And it wasn't as if the American military came in there and made their lives better, as that has been a proven fact on CNN itself, coming out and saying that the countries was actually doing well, way better before they were taken down. Gaddafi and Saddam or what have you, that the countries, GDP wise and just economically were better when these people were in power. So it wasn't as if they, militaries came in there to help and save the people, which is what our whole excuse was. We're going in there for weapons of mass destruction. We're going to basically take out Assad because he's, killing his people. Same thing with Muammar Gaddafi. He was killing his people, supposedly. And it was supposed to be going in there and helping the people. And then you look at the state of these countries today and you see that there's no help. These countries are completely left in ruins, destroyed. And it's crazy. So we see the true purpose as the same in Afghanistan, that the militaries are going in there and draining these countries of natural resources. And this is what the whole thing was about in the first place. And they sold the American people a story to get the American people to basically back to go along with a war. And you had these lies being told to the American people that cost thousands of lives and caused people to basically lose, the little bit of possessions that they had. Now, you go back to medieval times and before, the soldiers saw immediate rewards, not for themselves only, but for the kingdom, for the people. So if you went into another territory and you conquered it for whatever reason, then immediately you have access to all, of this new wealth, a new territory, a new place to, set down roots or what have you. And now your civilization just basically took over another civilization. And there are the rewards right there. You can see those rewards, and it's not the same. And if you go back to even World War I, World War II, and start looking at what took place, what was the benefit for the American people? And we have been sold on the fact that we have to go into certain countries to stop weapons of mass destruction because we're going to somehow be attacked. Or we have to go and basically defend the country because it's going to somehow be attacked. And this is what they have to keep in our psyche and keep us in fear and keep us believing that at any moment, terrorists can come in and attack and cause harm in any place in America. And we got to be vigilant of that. And we need an American military to prevent that. Now, understanding, one, that this is something that is possible and you should always have a military on alert. This is not the case. The case is we are not staying home and guarding the country. We're going out and conquering other countries and taking their resources. And the benefits, the spoils of these wars are going back into the hands of a small group of people. And you having the people who actually fought the war, the soldiers. Some of them gave limbs. Some gave lives. Coming home, ending up homeless on the street, suffering from all kinds of mental issues, PTSDs, and all kinds of traumas that they endured during war. And they are not given help, treatment, money. Billions of dollars are made during the wars. And these people have to come home with nothing. So they are not seeing the benefits of war. And then you add that with the fact that you have the American people who is not seeing the benefit of us going into Iraq. What did we get from that? What did we get from all the soldiers going into Iraq, capturing Saddam and, destroying that beautiful country because it was actually okay before we went in there? And what did the American people get? What did we get exactly? We found out later that it was a lie. There was no weapons of mass destruction. What happened? We didn't gain anything as a people. We lost privileges. We lost freedoms. You had a Patriot Act passed because of what happened on 9/11 that had absolutely nothing to do with Saddam. And you had so many freedoms taken away that we actually, didn't benefit from anything that happened or any of these wars. But we have been so distracted by entertainment and what happens in the entertainment world and the fact that you have to go to work and you have to worry about other things that's, right in your immediate everyday life, that a lot of people don't understand that, nothing positive was gained from these wars. And now you have the dumbing down and the mental brainwashing of a lot of people in positions of poverty and families that have a long military history that is going to be faced with the choice of going into the military or not. You have most people who go into the military, they do so because they come from a family of people who have joined, that have served. You have a lot of people who join because they basically want a new chapter in their life. They want to change. They don't want to go to college. They don't want to basically follow in their parents' footsteps. They want to, go their own route. You have a lot of people who get suckered into patriotism, who just want to join because they feel like they want to fight for a country that they love, that they believe they know everything about. And people have many different reasons of why they join. And once you get in, you understand the system because you get immersed in it. They train you to be a certain way, to think a certain way, to be all about the Corps, to be all about, the Navy, the Army, Air Force, and what have you. And everything is just based on that. Plain and simple, your whole world is consumed with that fact that you want to be the best soldier that you can be. And a lot of people pride themselves on that. But a lot of them don't understand the overall reason for their existence, for a military, and what they're actually going to be doing when they go out there, which is going to be aiding in, killing innocent people and stealing their resources. And this is what the military is doing. And we have been so suckered with this whole bullshit Patriotism Act, whole patriotism, ideology that, if you're not a patriot, you're not an American, and, just something wrong. You have to build that whole lie. They have to do that. because everything relies on them having the military to go out and execute their agenda. Without the military, they can't get shit done. They need the military. They need the National Guard. They need their guards. They need their bodyguards. They need people in positions of police authority, FBI, CIA, what have you. All these entities, all these different groups are all a part of the same, the same whole that's basically being used to execute the plans of the elite. And it's just that simple. So when you think about this whole martial law thing and, something about, a civil war possibly happening down the line to where you're going to have military personnel basically in combat with civilians. And if you are in the military now or think about joining, you have to think about your family. You got to think about your family. You got to think about if you really understand that you're going to have, if this stuff ever happens, people in the military, possibly killing your family members or detaining your family members or treating your family members like shit because of the position that you take, that you took, that you chose to take. And that all this stuff is not going to benefit any of us in the long run. See, the people in the military have a very tough decision to make, as well as the people in the police force and everywhere else. To me, they are the biggest key to everything, because it's going to be them that is going to be used to help execute any kind of future plans against the people. It always has been the military. And this is why you have in third world countries, you have military coups. You have where the general or the person who's running the military sees that the leadership is inadequate, unfit, that they are corrupt, and that a change must be done. Now you have this general or what have you who has control over the entire military. He can make a snap decision at any time to go ahead and overthrow the entire structure, because he is at the command, he has the control of the military, which is why in America, the president is commander in chief. That's just how it is. So we're talking about a military situation, and you have a person who is not qualified in most cases, never served in the military in a lot of cases, at the helm of the military. So this is outrageous when you look at people who have control over so much power to be able to send people out to their deaths based upon, bullshit. Now you take somebody like Trump, who have received 5 draft deferments in the Vietnam War, where, he had 1 medical, 4 academic deferments, to where he didn't have to basically fight in the Vietnam War. And lucky for him, he didn't, because he probably would have died, because around the time he would have been drafted was one of the most, brutal, bloodiest times as far as the fighting in Vietnam, where you had so many soldiers killed. I read where supposedly on the day he graduated from college, it was supposedly 40 American soldiers that died the day of his graduation. So you had rich people, because remember, his dad was rich. You had a lot of rich kids that was able to actually dodge the draft and who didn't serve. And you have a lot of these politicians who have kids who have not served. They wouldn't dare send their children into the military to go and die for what's taking place. And a lot of people have done so. And the messed up part is a lot of people do so based upon patriotism that is a false patriotism. And again, people don't understand what has taken place in this country, and that, as I said before, you have this country being controlled by international bankers, which that's a fact, and people who are not Americans, who never were Americans. And they're sending us out and using patriotism and the American people to go out and conquer the rest of the world for them and their party, their people. And everybody's running around, and everybody's so outraged about kneeling, for the national anthem and, everything like that, when it's ridiculous. It's absolutely, stupid when you really understand what we're talking about as far as what this military has been doing, over the last 60, 70 years. And that is the purpose of the military, to basically go out and fulfill the agenda of people who have global domination aspirations, to not so much go out and do anything that's really going to benefit us. Because I know one thing, if I'm sending my kid out, if I'm going out there to risk my life, I better see an immediate benefit from it once I come back home. What are we going out to basically get? And again, we have been set up for war because we have set ourselves up in so many different positions around the world as far as U.S. military bases to occupy and protect resources and to surround certain countries just in case these people feel like they want to start another war or want to take a country. So you're going to have possibly millions of people go to war against North Korea or Iran eventually, or Russia eventually, because a small group of people have an agenda. And that agenda is not going to benefit any one of us. And this is what we got to understand. So me, who served, who actually understand how this military works and how all this stuff goes down, I can't see any honor in destroying civilizations of innocent people in their homes. So when we look at the news and we see what's going on, you look at, the internet, and we see a lot of these homes, apartment buildings in Syria bombed, babies smashed to death, men, women, children smashed because, the building they lived in came crashing down on them. How is that going to benefit us? What is the purpose of that? The purpose of, completely ridding countries of, their inhabitants to go in there and get what that's going to benefit us as a whole, the country. Again, we're not seeing those benefits. And we can go back, as I said before, to ancient times, to go back to medieval times even, and see what was the purpose for military back then. It made more sense than it does today, especially since America has so much in abundance and we are able to basically produce what we need to produce. And we did at one point do that, but we don't anymore. So what is the point? So again, what you had was this country taken over by international bankers, people who run the Federal Reserve Bank, and they moved every single thing that this country could use to create wealth, to repay any kind of debts that we had or owe to the Federal Reserve or anybody else. They moved all those jobs, those companies, a lot of those corporations out. This is one of the things that Ronald Reagan did when he became president. Factories closed down, jobs moved because they didn't want this country to be producing enough wealth to pay off the debt so that the Federal Reserve would basically remain in power in this country and that they would get enough people in power to basically make sure that that never changes. And this is what we are seeing. And it has not changed. So, by now they have so many people in positions of power to where they can basically go ahead and make policy or break policy and do whatever they want. So the presidency, again, as I talked about before, it's a puppet post. All this stuff is a song and a dance. Now, we have been watching Donald Trump for a long time. Long time people have been seeing Trump. And I'm going to keep it real with you. Like, I understand what's going on. And when you pay attention, you will as well. But one, Donald Trump, even when you go back and just look at the picture, he's been cool with so many black celebrities for a very long time, a lot of which came up and spoke up for him. Remember back in the 1990s, I believe it was 99 or 98, where you had Donald Trump and the whole Rainbow Push Coalition basically helped to allow black people to, basically get into corporate America, to make it so that a black corporation, if it wanted to, if it was possible, could go global and actually start trading on the stock market. He actually built buildings down there for that purpose. So when you go back, you remember one, Trump saying this.
We're going to take care of our African American people that have been mistreated for so long.
Because you see a lot of pictures of Donald Trump out partying and being cool with a lot of black folks. But then all that changed come the election. We've seen all of the media push this whole racist agenda, and that, Trump basically did what he did to get into the White House. You have to understand that all of this was part of the plan. I don't give a shit about Donald Trump. I'm not pushing for Donald Trump or anything like that. I want you guys to understand that this is all a part of a trap. You have a lot of people who, because of what they have seen on the media, has completely forgotten about history and what has taken place. And everybody is now following the narrative of the news media. If this is what you are doing, you have just bought in to exactly what they want you to buy in. I've never seen, black people go with the media narrative so hard as they are doing right now. And the whole narrative now is, of course, Trump's a racist. This whole thing is racist, and this is what they're pushing. And you have to be smarter than that and understand that this is part of an agenda and that you can't feed into none of that bullshit. It's a part of a plan to get you to feed into it, to get you emotional about certain things, to lead you to a different direction. All the emotional marches and everything that's going on is because people have been watching TV, watching the news, watching social media, and following all this bullshit, not realizing that it's a trap. It's a part of a plan. Plain and simple. So you have to understand that and understand where this stuff is heading. As I said and talked about in the DVD on Greek mythology about Obama and why, one of the reasons why they had to do it the way they did it with Obama, because one, you had so many white people actually vote for a black person to be their leader, regardless that Obama is half white or what have you. If he never knew who his mom was, you would think he was a black man 100%. So you had so many white people overwhelmingly say, I want this black man to be our leader and to lead us. And you had so much unity and black and white come together during the whole Obama election. And what happened, it was a beautiful thing for people who do not understand what's going on. And everybody thought the stuff was real and Obama's president. And, it's going to be some kind of healing in the country. It made so many people emotional, black and white. But of course, they had to make sure that that never happens, which is why we start getting all the shootings and, everything that happened with racism. And this is why we were seeing these things. They wanted to make sure there was no kind of unity, that America did not unite, under this black president, and that black and white people did not come together because Obama became president. So we, the shootings and everything that's been happening since is for that reason. And, Trump whole tune changed up. And he ran on this whole racism thing to keep that going, as well as that kept going. We've seen the whole attacks on Syria keep going as well, which gets you to understand that this is a part of one plan, one agenda by people who are running things behind the scenes. No way in the world that a man like Donald Trump would come into the White House. I would not expect him to follow policy the way he has done so, as far as, following what Obama started, as far as going into Syria and everything that happened with that and all the refugees and what have you. And it just doesn't seem like something he would do. So again, this was the agenda of somebody else from the jump, and Trump is just following orders, just like Obama did and every president before him, since this whole thing has been taken over. So if you're not going to understand that, if you're not going to understand again and look into it, to the fact that this whole thing has been switched over and changed so that bankers, people at the top, a small group of people can control what's going on in this country and use patriotism to their advantage to basically go out and conquer and take over and put themselves in positions of power in different places around the world. And they have been using us to do that, for decades. So, when people get so patriotic and so hype about the American military, they have absolutely no idea what this stuff is about and what the true point is. Being black and serving and going over to basically fight and die for a president that's running with a racist theme. It's ridiculous. It's crazy. It's crazy. And of course, a lot of people are going to point the finger right at Trump, rightfully so. But you have to understand it's deeper than that. And it goes deeper than that as far as the reason why he's pushing this whole racism narrative and what the true point of it is. So I don't know how, you can get too many people. And from my friends who are still in right now, that's serving, we talk. And as I said before, you have a lot of people, Marines, Army, Navy, they're not willing to fight for Trump. They're not willing to go to war. Now, I understand they're not going to have a choice. They took an oath. They signed papers. They're not going to have a choice, but it's something that they're really not wanting to do. So, military personnel, people in positions of authority as far as police or what have you, you guys have difficult choices ahead as far as taking orders that is not going to benefit the people, that is actually going to be, hurting the people. This is what you're going to be facing coming up in the future as far as taking those orders that's going to actually harm Americans and not help us. So protecting this country, you're supposed to against all enemies, foreign and domestic. And as I said before, this administration, these people, the Senate, these Congress members, these people who are in positions of power are 100% against the people. They are not for the people. They have not been for the people for a long time. So in other third world countries where it's not so much brainwashing going on, where people actually think, you have a lot of these coups take place. You have a lot of these instances where you have the people take over or military personnel take over the leadership position because they see clearly that people are being robbed. That is absolutely true and correct in our case here in America. So that has to get you to understand one point, that no matter what happens, you have to think about this. No matter what happens, no matter how far it goes or what point it gets to, it's going to come down to what is the military going to do? What are the police officers going to do? Are they going to follow orders that's going to lead to the death of American citizens? Or are they going to take the side of the people, understanding that they themselves are a part of the people, and do what's right? And that's what it's going to boil down to, plain and simple. You can't take over a country or control a people in a country if you do not have control of the military. So this constant bombardment about, patriotism and everything else, all of this is falling into line. All of this is falling into line. You got people that's just, they don't even know why they're patriotic at all. They don't understand what that shit really means. What is that? Patriotic for what? How are you patriotic about what you're seeing as far as children being, blown up and killed by our military, by drone strikes? Shit like that. It's crazy. And then you come home and you see veterans begging for money. But they put out movies and TV shows, thank you for your service and everything, to basically say they're supporting the troops. But you got troops, you have soldiers who have fought in wars, homeless, no money, standing with Colin Kaepernick. And you have people who completely ignore that whole situation because they're racist. It's not about the troops. It's about black and white. It's about racism. Plain and simple. They ignore the fact that these people, veterans, millions of them, homeless, no place to go, no food, and you're supposed to be patriotic. How is that patriotic to see veterans getting crap, nothing, homeless? But you have people, actors, sports, athletes, and what have you, getting paid millions of dollars for the bullshit that they doing, that is not protecting the country. So if it's all about patriotism and everything like that, how is that right? How is that right? That the people who's supposed to be the most important as far as the protection. I mean, every time when somebody hear that I was in the military, thank you for your service. Thank you for your service. It's bullshit. Because then these same people will walk right past a homeless man holding a sign that says he's a veteran. They'll walk right past him like he a garbage can and don't give him shit. But everybody's so patriotic. Thank you for your service, this and that. But these people don't get shit. It's no reason, no way in the world any veteran should not have what they need to survive for the rest of their lives, especially if they lost a limb. It's crazy. So they using us in the worst way, and then it's disrespectful after that. It's like, come on. And nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants to look at what's really going on as far as the military and see the purpose of them. They're pawns. That's it. Pawns. They're throwaways. They're expendable. Use them till the mission is accomplished, and you don't give a shit what happens to them after that. So what? We get new soldiers. More people coming in. And as long as they keep putting out these movies and these TV shows and bringing the minds of the young people on board, they're going to continue to have soldiers, which is why it's important for us to speak to our children and to speak to people and let them understand what this stuff is really about. Because you have a lot of people that fall in line with patriotism and fall for this stuff. I mean, here you have a black man. You have black people kneeling, saying, we are kneeling to basically protest against police brutality and the killing of unarmed black people. And they disagree with it. They don't want to respect that. And then they'll get a black person to come out there and sing the national anthem. You know, it's ridiculous. They'll release a movie, you know, about patriotism. You know, all of this that they done, the millions of dollars they spent just to negate the fact that black people are being wrongfully killed by police officers. And this country, this administration, these people in power are doing nothing about it. So to me personally, you know, everybody want to be brainwashed by this stuff, but you thanking the troops for their service, and they haven't given you any service personally. They have served the elite. They have served the agenda of the people in power, and you can't point to nothing that they have done through these last wars that actually benefited you personally. Unless you was, you know, in the military and you got to check. But as far as benefiting the American people as a whole, what did we get? What did we get? Did we bring back Saddam's gold and everybody got a cut of that gold? Did the military personnel get a cut of that gold? You seen all the gold they took from Iraq? How much of that do you think the military got, or the people who got the gold got? I mean, think about that. And you have this huge drug, you know, this whole drug conglomerate going on right now. It's a huge network of drugs and all kinds of, you know, paraphernalia and drugs and narcotics, I should say, that's happening in America that is right up under or dealing with the CIA and the FBI, what have you. And we bringing in so much drugs into this country, and they're selling it and doing whatever with it. That's documented, that, you know, and they even made a movie about it, by the way, that, you know, it's crazy. And again, people look at this stuff and go about their business. You know, so if you know somebody who's in the military and who is serving, this is stuff that you need to talk to them about and get them to understand, if you are conscious in any kind of way, to understand that, you know, when those orders go out, if it ever come down to us versus them and those orders go out, you know, what side are you going to choose? Because the way things are going, eventually, you know, America's going to be headed towards a civil war. If they collapse the dollar, this is what we're going to have. The dollar crash, people going out and shooting. They're going hunting for government officials. They're going to want their money back. So eventually, this is where it's hitting. It's going to hit there. This is why they're trying to take away our guns. We're going to keep seeing all of this shit with the false flag shootings. Another one just happened in Houston. Where that is Houston, we're going to keep seeing it until they take away our power to buy automatic weapons and to have the capability to actually survive a firefight, you know, with these people. Once that's gone, you know, that's just another check mark in a whole chain of events that's going to lead to the complete collapse of America and the complete takeover of American people and the freedom. That's just one link. And a lot of people think that it's just a distraction. No, they want guns. They want it gone. They want the whole thing regulated. They want to get rid of our capability to have automatic weapons legally, so they can really focus on the people who are doing so illegally and make it illegal so that people don't do it. Even though it is illegal, you're not supposed to be making guns in your basement. But what's wrong with that when you really think about it? especially if you're not, making it to kill anybody or use it for any kind of harm. You just have one in the house for personal protection. I don't see nothing wrong with it, me personally. But you got a lot of weirdos and, wackos out there doing a lot of things with guns. But the fact that we keep seeing this false flag stuff over and over again, and it's not, raising no red flags to nobody because, it can't. We're not in no sort of position of power to where we can say, hey, this shit is fishy. This is suspicious. We need to look at all these false flags and really do like a major, investigation, because there's something more to this. Something more to it. And, who can we turn to say, look into this stuff when these people run the FBI, CIA, and all these law enforcement agencies? So we can't even really do anything about it. We just sitting back and we wait until the time comes for all hell to break loose. And then we got to deal with the shit. So this is what we're looking at. So you have a lot of people that's gearing up for it, who believe they will survive it, which I believe they won't. Because when everything go down, trust and believe, these people, when they execute whatever plan they're going to execute, it's over. Because they would not even make the move or attempt it unless they knew 100% it's going to be successful. I guarantee you that they're not going to make the mistake. They've been planning for thousands of years for that purpose, hundreds of years in America for that purpose, to take what they're trying to take. And it's just one, key piece of their agenda that they have been executing, for hundreds of years. And it's tough for people to understand that and to believe it and accept it. But when you follow the stuff back, this is exactly what it points to. So a lot of people need to just chill out and just understand what's going on and be prepared for the trap. Because a lot of black people everybody don't watch, my channel. A lot of people don't watch YouTube at all. A lot of people don't understand none of the stuff that we're talking about. And, you say false flag to people and, conspiracy theory and all this stuff we talk about. People just, they look at you like you're crazy. So it's tough to get the word out there and to get people to understand and accept everything that we talk about as far as looking deeper into what we see from governments and what have you. Because you got a lot of black folks that's trusting and believe that this is all about money. This is all about, some other stuff that has nothing to do with the deeper meaning of it all, which, as I said, goes back to us, and it's always dealing with us and always have been about us. If you watch my videos, you understand that by now. This shit is always about us, always about black people. It has always been about black people, plain and simple. And that's what you got to realize. So don't fall for the bullshit. Definitely shouldn't be patriotic about anything. Understand the true purpose of this military and what they are going to be used for and what they have been used for. So, yeah, I wanted to make this quick video, touch on that, because, people ask, is it a good idea to join the military? Common sense. So, do research, pay attention to what's going on. Don't let the news media push you one way. Stay grounded, stay focused, and understand it's all part of an agenda. So I want to thank you guys for taking the time to watch. Thanks to everybody who supported. See you guys next video.